I gotta get like a clapperboard or something. 3, 2, 1. And we're live. Good evening, Internet. I'm back with section number 4 of my 7-day roguelike developments. I'm going to call this the end of day 2 because that makes me feel better than saying it's the end of day 3. By the way, I should probably check. Do I have audio? Yeah, I hear myself talking to myself. That's great. Now, where did we leave off? What did I do between... Oh, it's Baja Blast time. Not sponsored, but Pepsi. Get in touch. I have been working on the tiles to try to make this game actually look like a game and not like a development test environment. Let's take a look. So I'm debugging it presently, but I'll just walk through what I have so far as like a devlog item. Okay, so I think this was on the previous stream. We have the sections of rooms. So the rooms right now are just showing where the map is segmented. It doesn't actually do anything. And if I do some stuff like split the maps, I'll get more smaller rooms. They each have a different sprite, but again, they're just, the player can move right over it. It's different sections of the map being organized, but not walled off. So if I press O and then P, I should get these walls now. And what we've done is every section that was a room, I should also be able to, let me look at my keys here. Can never remember what my own debug buttons do. And we have those keys. Here's the client. So let me say for highlight plus and minus 1, U and I. So I have these different rooms here. And each room has had walls added to the border. And if I press P to format tiles, and if I press it again, there might be like some variation. Yeah, because some of these tiles, they match different rules about what has to be around them. So this is the simplified tile set because I'm debugging. I found a numbering system error that I need to switch out. So let's go to the tiles code and switch this to the full tile def. So I'll show a tile def in a minute so I can go through that, but we press OP. What we have here is a dungeon that has, it looks like some glitches in the tile selection, but basically these rules are so that walls look connected when they're adjacent to other walls versus adjacent to floors. So some of those look correct, some of those look quite bad. I see like an artifacting error that only occurs because I have a zoom of less than 1 right now because I wanted to look at the whole 50 by 50 level for segmentation. If I were, let's say crypt.grid and set the zoom to something more like 1.5, because if you're going for that pixelated look, we probably want to zoom in more on those chunky blocky tiles. And zoomed in, the artifact disappears. So I think that's something I may have to debug. It might actually be going off the edge of a texture in a zoom less than 1. I don't know for sure. I should probably open a bug for that. So I do have some tiles they are drawing wrong. So let's look at how it gets those rules. And I can think aloud. Let's see here. So we're in the scripts. Let's look at tiledef.txt. Okay, so all this says is it gives a number. Now, in McRogueface, every tile on your sheet, so let's say we have a sprite sheet loaded up, much like this sprite sheet. This is Kenny NL's tiny dungeon, and all I did was just extend the image down and copy and paste, try to keep things aligned to get more sprites into one big sheet. Is that efficient? I don't know. I don't care. It's really convenient. It's a little tricky to figure out the numbers, which I'll get into with my bugs. But it's nice to be able to just toss something on there. So I know this is like an aesthetic sin, but I don't really care about those or something like that. But I'm going to use the Tiny Dungeon characters and NPCs and chest and boulder, and I'm going to use the walls from this micro roguelike. That was an 8x8 pixel tile set, but I just blew it up to 200% with no interpolation, so it stays sharp and pixely. So pretty chunky, blocky pixel set. I could easily copy, paste, modify these tiles and maybe get another idea here of like how to get it to give it a little bit of my own style, but I'm probably not going to do that. I would rather focus on game engine-y stuff. But this tile set, there's 16 pixels by 16 pixels is one tile. So this one right here, that's going to be tile ID 0 because it's in the top left corner. And then we'll go to tile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Next row, 12. So because there are 12 sprites across, 0 through 11 is the first row. 12 through, quick math, 23 is going to be the next row. And so on and so forth. You give a number, it counts through. Well, it does a little modulo, but it finds the tile that corresponds with that single number. That's your tile ID. And when you give a tile on the grid or an entity that tile ID, that image shows up. And honestly, one of the reasons I made McRogueface at all is because I was looking at some different engines where you had to map a graphical tile to an ASCII character and then assign that character to the thing you want to draw, and I just hated that beyond all comprehension. It filled me with revulsion. So one of the things I wanted to do with McRogueface is make it so expressly all the tiles on the grid, yes, those have to be on the same tile sheets, but it can be any tile on the sheet. It can be used for any piece of ground. Also any piece of overlay, like these cursors. You can actually make a tile show that over top of whatever stuff is below it with transparency and all that. But the entities can each individually have their own separate tile sheet. So I didn't really have to do this. I could have used like this sheet for the entities and this micro roguelike sheet for the grid. But I didn't do that. I just put them together, and now I need to figure out the numbers. What I've done in the past is attach a sprite to this, attach this texture to a sprite, show that real big on the screen, maybe show a caption, and then just set up any kind of event with either keyboard or clickable buttons to accept that tile ID as what the sprite should show. So that's a way that you can just type in a number or go to the Python console and type in a value and look at what that sprite is and kind of confirm what each one is. So I drew out my tile planning, which I've never done this before. This is something I should have already done in my roguelike quest, roguelike developer quest, but I did not. So I'm doing the homework now, and to do that now, I guess we'll just do that thing I said and try to look at these tile IDs, try to look at why they're drawing wrong, because like these rules here, as I should have been getting to, actually. Sorry to take you guys through the stroll through my mind. But this number, that's a tile ID. It's just a spot, a single tile on the sheets. And then this 3x3 grid of symbols is 3 different symbols. And I'll have a look in, is it tiles? Yeah, it's the same tiles file. So we have a tile info class. I don't know what other engines would call this type of thing, but I have 3 settings, and I need to look at this 3x3 grid at these coordinates, which are, this is an offset. So 0, 0 is whatever tile we're currently talking about, that tile itself. +1, +1 is down and to the right. -1 is up and to the left. Did I say that right? Can't even remember. And we need to look at the neighbors and determine what situations a tile works in. So if it's, for example, a wall, or if it's ground, or if it's either one, we need to tell each tile what things it connects to so that it looks correct. So some of these I have like tile number 133, which is this guy right here. Or maybe it's the, maybe that's 132. It's something we got to check on because the numbers are not, it's at the very least not doing everything it's supposed to. So they don't look quite right. It could be because these numbers are wrong or because these neighbor rules need to be adjusted. So we got 133. That's allegedly this one here. This, I'm going to guess that's wrong because it should be even if it's on the first column, isn't it? Huh? So maybe I already counted wrong. So this one looks like it should have walls to the right and walls below it, and itself has to be a wall. So that's why we get XXX. Now I have this little underscore here for needs to be clear ground, and that's because they have there's this corner here that indicates, unlike these ones, this is like a solid corner that indicates that it's like a T shape. This one indicates that it's like the smooth corner of something. So we need an open side there. And I guess what I could also do here is add like a second rule for the same tile here. And let me just, I'm going to suspect that this needs to be 2. And that needs to be these first 4. 1, 3, 4, and 1, 3, 5. I think those would be the correct values then. So what else I could do is 1, 3, 2, ground above. And it's that simple to say like 1, 3, 2 is an appropriate tile when there's ground off to the corner. And maybe like even an additional one like ground here. So basically saying that if there's any ground top left corner directly above or directly to the side, this corner, then 132 would be a valid tile for that configuration. I think there's a way to like collect this automatically with a tile algorithm called wave function collapse, but I'm not implementing that this week, so we'll have to circle back to that. Now let's try to get these drawing, and the way I was doing that for test purposes is I had a simple tile set. And that one, do I have it open? Yes. Only has a couple of rules, and I was adding them a little bit at a time. So I believe this is like 133 for a wall straight across the top. And since I just changed that, and I changed that thing to load the simple one, let's load our game and press the commands to make the walls happen. And yes, you can see that now there is a wall across the top wherever there would be walls connecting to the side. So that's great. And like right now I have 145. This is like the solid standalone wall, or 145 is a ground. Yeah, okay. So I think I've figured out what my mathematical error is. That my my first row on my handwritten sheet here. Here, let me pull this up. I got this sheet. I wrote this sheet out by going in a calculator and just adding 12 because that's how wide the rows are. But I think I need to add 13 because I'm going from the first one on one row through all the ones that follow and then to the next row down. So what could be the problem here is that, yeah, none of those should be odd, so I should have figured that out. Let's add it like one rule at a time, and I'll try to see which elements are wrong here. So we're on simple tiles. I put, so 133 is the wall across the top. What else? Something else I also need here is it would be great to put a comment field in this file. I made up this format myself. All it does is get like a block by splitting by double new lines. So this blank line between the definitions is considered part of the grammar there. And I take the first line and call that info. I'm planning to implement weighted chances on these tiles, because if you have like the plain main wall, if it was 100% that, it would look a little bland. But if you have like 4 variants, like a brick moved here or a brick moved there or a little tchotchke on it, you don't want it to be like even slices of all the same things. You want it to be mostly the plain one, and then occasionally, like 10% of the time, pepper in a different variant tile. So I have a line that pulls in a chance value. I can put a like 133 colon 0.1, and that should make that tile more rare. But it's not actually implemented yet, so we will have to wait and see if I get back around to that. Oh, did I ever talk about how this actually works? It basically ignores the don't care squares. And what I can actually do is take a spot on the grid and say, okay, for all of those spots around it, please tell me if this area is walkable on the grid. So if that spot is walkable, then it's a floor. If it's not walkable, it's a wall. And specifically for the file, when I load in a configuration, I also have don't care, which would make it match more liberally without having to make every possible permutation of it in the text file. So if it matches, then we will randomly pick one, and that's choices of anything that matches. So if there's multiple tile definitions that match, you'll randomly get one of them as the tile for that spot. This is a completely separate step just for aesthetics after showing or after setting if walls are present, if it's floor or wall. So let's get cracking. I will do this by Vim. Oh, I'm in scripts. This is the source one. I need to go to build because I'm a bad developer, editing in my build directory directly. And I'm trying to not recompile McRogueface for this game jam. There was a couple of seg faults that I had to take care of, which I did the 0th day, if I'm trying to still disillusion myself that this is day 2. But I don't plan on recompiling the engine if I don't have to. Oh, and let's have a look at tile def. We'll just open it read-only because I'm lazy and don't want to close it on the other one. Okay, so there's those variations I was talking about. Don't know if that's necessary quite yet. And I will put that one maybe? I don't know. I'll just stick with the first one I came up with. Okay, so 132, 133, 134 would be That's weird. This says it's got like a door shape. So I think that's like a wall variant. Let's leave it out for now. 135 is going to be the opposite of 132. And is that what I came up with last time? Sanity check by thinking about it twice, right? Yeah. Okay, next row. I think that would be like 144. And this is me trying to correct the numbers, and I think this should be has open wall to the side of it. And maybe that should be, let's see, 143. Like maybe this should be wall here, but I don't know. And on the simple tile set, I have this guy, 146 and 145, so I know that every ground and every wall will always have this option of like a tile that's like, it does not care what's around it. Okay, so how did these do? Oh, something else I can do. If I get off the wall before I generate them, I can actually go poke them with my little test character. So what I've seen here is since the boundary of the map registers as a boundary, this corner here seems to say like that is a tile 135, and it's saying that because there's floor next to it. Yeah, because like the edge of the map counts. Should the edge of the map count as wall? I don't know. It's trying to connect to it. I think it has to. Well, I don't know. Maybe it would... Let's try that, actually. Let's see what happens. Okay, so where that happens is from grid, we get a value error if we try to use the at function outside of the map. I returned false for not walkable. Let's try true. Because if we add those walls, okay, you can see what patterns I have nothing fitting installed for yet. So that corner looks right. And if I just hit P over and over, you can see like shifting tiles around. It's starting to look not half bad. My concern is with this guy here. Like it's trying to make double walls, but I think this T shape here really should require, like the corner should require more clearance around it. So let's try that. Is that 135? What if this requires ground around it and 132? Same rules. That should mean I can get smooth walls on the edge of the map, but not in the middle of one. So just hit P a couple times. Yes, yes, okay. So we got wall tiles. This is a little concerning. I don't know. I have to give some more. Let me just hit it a couple times. Can we? It seems to be the only place that they're valid. Another thing I can do, if I go to the level, I have the way that I wall off a room is I basically do a sweep from one side to the other and get the top line and the bottom line, and a sweep from the top to the bottom and get the left line and the right line. That's why the rooms have two walls, but if I only put walls on the top and left and just use the fact that the rooms are all squeezed up against each other, I can get single thick walls, although it doesn't block the edge of the dungeon, which I think looks a little bad now that I see it like that. So satisfying. I guess what I could do is let me say and this would be the level. Yeah, it gets its own boundaries. X plus width minus 1. Nope. That would be X self dot height minus 1. And then the opposite. Okay. So single wall around, and that'll overwrite, but who cares? Just do it more than once. Okay. Now we got walls around the whole dungeon. The outside of the dungeon is not counted as a wall to connect with, and I'm just going to keep adding more tiles as long as they keep looking valid. See, I've got nothing for the left and right side, and what I want is GIMP here, this guy to connect with top and bottom. Yeah, I don't know. Might not be able to do it with my rules, come to think of it, because I'm only checking the neighborhood, the 8 spots around, and the spot itself. So if this spot's a wall, the spot above it is a wall, that's like, it's only really tracking in a line. But how should I know if it should be left wall or right wall? This is one of those like wave function collapse rules. It's actually related to the tile that's around it, not the walkability that's around it. Let's see if I can figure it out. I might have to do some kind of like slapdash tiling. It's my first pass of my brain is telling me it's not doable. I'm forgetting something critical here. Okay, let's try to get some more, and then I'll come across different problems, different solutions to the problem as I can. Okay. Yeah, because what was 144? Was that working? It's 144 defined as straight wall with a thing on the left. Oh, and it has to be blocked on the back. So. Let's try that. Ooh. What did that say? info, line 72. Oh, too many blank lines there. Let me see. That's what happens when you write your own stuff. Okay. Okay, I see that wall there, but that seems wrong. Like that's tile 144. But it's next to a wall on the left. Oh, I told it it could do that. Oh, I meant to tell it it couldn't do that, but I got a syntax error. Okay, so this is where I expect that wall to be. This is where I don't expect this wall to be. Like the ones there should. Those should be the other one. I don't know how to differentiate them with the only, what is this, a 3x3 search kernel. So that'd be 147, and it comes out kind of. That's the same result. So running it in that way, oh boy. No blank, don't keep adding blank lines, okay. Yeah, it can zigzag like that, which is not correct. Okay, I'll add some fancy rules. Because those should be correct. Oh, hey, what happens if there's no valid tile there? So, like, what happens if I take out tile 146? Yeah, can't choose from empty. So to do that, like, I wanted to put a question mark. What tile would that be? For here, right? So this tile position. So that's 176 divided by 16, row 11, and that's 132. Doesn't sound right. It might be 12 more than that. 144 also doesn't sound right. And then plus 11 because it's all the way at the end. 155. Like, I have a number 155. I don't think it's... Yeah, that should be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, like 25 rows. This should be a tile number over 300. Let's try that. Let's see what tile we get. A black square. Is there like a lot of those? I don't even see which black square it could be in the 300s. Maybe that is way too high. Wait. So 211 looks like that bucket guy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 times 12 wide $216 more. Wait. That looks like water. Maybe like 40 more. Okay, I got F1. Oh no, F5. Yes. 12, 24, 36, 48, 52, 54. 54 more. Dumb way to do it. There's probably a tool I could write for this. Okay, so now we get a question mark. Yeah. And I'm just going to increase the zoom. I'm like leaning into my computer every time I do one of these. Kryptonite, grid. The zoom level I actually want it to be at. Unfortunately, it zooms straight into the middle, so it makes it a little hard to see stuff, but okay. So if I do things like that, split it a lot. Should let me look at stuff. No, I'm gonna have to shrink the level too. Oh, I know. Let's test if that's crazy or not. Just reduce the level. Let's make it 25 by 25. Maybe I'll still be able to see the edges of it. No, I think I actually had... I should probably go down to like 2.0 because I think the original size was like 25 by 15. Yeah, it's a big guy. Glad this thing actually it still works. Like the grid resized pretty well. So this is at 2. I think I'll go to like, what is that, 25 by 15. So let's go to like 30 by 25. That's just basically perfect. Maybe it needs to be like just a little bit smaller. That looks like the edge. Yeah. If I reset and do the walls, it just finds all floor. Okay, so I got some question marks that I need to yeah, those walls are not going to cut it. So when do I use these other ones? I'm on simple tiles still, right? loading the simple tiles. And figuring out which other ones I need to adjust the numbers of. I have 147 in. (147) is this right wall. So plus 12 would be this bottom corner one. So 159, also plus 1. Okay, so maybe I got the first row correct and then was off by 1 for all the ones that followed. Weird. Maybe I fat-fingered one addition when I was jotting things down and drawing my plan. So let's try 158 to get that nice smooth wall. And that's the number I already have here for, for a door. Okay, 159. Smooth corner. And did I adjust these corner guys here? I made them use 132 and 135. Both corners. That's that smooth corner. Now, what tile would actually be a 4-way? I don't even see one. I feel like not supposed to do those. Would that connect? That might be easier. There was a single wall. They're just so much prettier though. Dang. So I guess the way I really want to do it is to put rules about which tiles they can be next to. Okay, yeah, and yeah, while I'm just coming to terms with the fact that I need to do more development work to make it easier for me to work on. So what I'll do here, say that's each one. The way this works is it takes a single line to make info. So what I can do, if there's no this thing in info, if there's no colon in info, just use the default chance value. So I have a chance value in these files. Where can I put a comment? Oh, by the way, I actually never put here chance equals float chance. And I'll put a dot strip for what I'm about to do here, which is if in info, if we're putting a comment, let's put it after the chance. I'll just delete it here. I'll say take the first hashtag, keep that original info, and separate comment and just delete it. Now, info just becomes the first line. Just delete the whole comment, sure. This is like a very ugly thing to do, but it's very fun to hack. So let's just make a mess and have fun doing it. So if we put an @ so what I would say here is like cardinal direction equals let's get a bunch of them. I'll just leave it like that for now so I can get a look at it. So let me give an example of what I'm thinking here. So let's say 143. I'm sorry, 144. I had to correct the numbers and just write that down. Old numbers crossed out. Okay, so we got 144, and I'll put here at and this should say something like not SX, that's like S144 or S155 or S. I need to double check my other rules here, but I think it might be 192. So ultimately 132, I would say, is one of the North 133. Where did I put that? Is that a typo or did I just have the wrong brainwave? 132. Maybe because I was looking at it. This is this corner piece that knows that the wall is going to go like to the right or something like that. And there's open space around it. Maybe one or both. Maybe I got to figure out what the off edge of the map should look like. But let's say to the north it has to be 132. Or the south it has to be 144. Or south 155 or south 192. I'm saying those are other blocks I think would connect with it. And let's go to 147. North 135, south 15. Yeah, 155 is actually got to be wrong there too. This is a nightmare. This is probably why people use wave function collapse to make it solve it. 156 and 192. Where's 192? Oh, 191. Oh, guess what? That's probably also wrong. Did I also get them backwards? Left side should connect to 192. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see. And right side wall 193. And I'll just say any has to match because okay, so I got these rules here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck off the north, south, east, west. And maybe I'll do like Q, E, Z, and C for diagonals if I really wanted to implement those. But I don't even want to implement this really. So there's all the block rules. Let me just like add these. Tile ID. Constraints replace K equals tile info. Let me also say I'll add these fields somewhere like for rules and for chance. Tile info init. Have to add the weights in there, but basically a way to check if the rules check out. So arm block rules.append. Should probably do like a default dict or something, but I'm just gonna do a splits, and that's gonna be R0 for that character, and int R1 to the end. Okay. Tuple, get those in there. K dot, dang it, forgot the name of it over it. Self.rules and self.chance. Okay, so we're just going to save those on the tile, and when we ask if it matches, no, because this is all about tile info. I think I need to add this at the point that the level does it. Oh, grid.at tile sprite random.choice matches. Okay, so maybe I will do it here. And because this has already got hold of the grid, so this is a good spots. And what we can say is another bad thing in hard code. let me take my question mark block, 431. Let me say for MN matches. Let me modify this list by copying it before we iterate, and we will say which one are we? Okay, so there's the match. If m.rules, continue, you're passed. So if not any, how should we compare a rule? Let me make a function for it. Tile info from grid is what reads the particular grid square. Now, what am I doing? I can't do this here. Why not? Okay, so we have to start over. Okay, so something I need to double check in my rules. Like 144 actually can go next to itself, but I don't want two of them to let me add more secret sauce here. Okay, let me add some notes here because I'm making a mess. Okay, so this would be like a heading here. Okay, so we've got north, south, east, and west, and those will be any match is good enough, and north, south, east, west. And this like has to be contiguous with a capital letter rule match. Now, why do I say that? Because let's say you get this wall 144 on the left and two of them randomly generate next to each other. That is going to follow the rules and be allowed even if it should have been a right side wall to begin with. So I don't want like let's do a pass over the map. So how to solve it. its wave function collapse. But crappier because I'm in a hurry. I'm going much too quickly to do this the right way, so I'm gonna do a terrible, fast, slow way. Mark every tile as, every tile that has special rules and then iterate, mark every tile with capital special rule matches as verified, and then mark every tile with lowercase special rule matches with verified tiles as verified. So we'll have the little corners where it's touching one that's a capital letter. It's like this is a definitely allowed connection. That sidewall will be verified as correct, and then iterate over the map again. This verified left wall would verify the next left wall under it, and that would propagate down until the end of it. And if it's connected on the top and bottom, that'll actually propagate 2 walls at a time towards the middle. Should be fun to visualize if I can pull it off. So S144 and also North 144. South 156. Where did I put 132? 135. South 147. North 147. Wonder if I don't think the front walls are going to give me anywhere near this much trouble. This might also help me verify out the T's when I figure out what I'm doing here. So they're hilarious that this is called simple tiles and I'm doing this insanity with it. So let me do this thing where I say unverified tiles is an empty set. If we have matches, let's do this. If not matches, tile equals tile of last resort, else tile equals random.choices matches weights equals something, first choice of choices, and this will be like tile. Let me say random that choice matches. Matches is just the value. Okay, so snap. Let's get that tile thing. Get the tile info item. That's the key. And the tile ID is just the value. So matches, yeah, because we need to have the tile info for doing random weights. So if not matches, tile is that. And this is going to be, it's very ugly, but random.choices is going to give us a choice of these tuples. And we want the first item, the 1th item, which is going to be the integer tile value. Random.choice mat, okay, and put that is equal to tile. And what we'll also say is oh, let me say tile info tile equals tile info tile info is the key, tile is the value is what we set it to, and if k or tile info dots rules put that coordinate in the unverified tiles pile, and now infinite loop. This is always good fun. And okay, so every tile that's got some funny rules, like these left and right, that have to be connected to things that are on their respective side, I'm going to look at them and look at all of their let's look at these like north, south, east, and west neighbors, and if it's one of the tiles listed, then do the two things I was saying. So verified in this case means it's not in that list. So it's like for I'll call him TT. That's the tile under test. For rule in I need to go get, let me do this. Let's make it a dictionary. While we still have unverified tiles, we're going to copy that guy. I think that should still work. Let me try that real quick. Okay, there's a dictionary. Yeah, I don't think you get a slice on a dictionary. That doesn't make sense. So what I could say is so we got all those, D2, del D2 A, D2 lost A. It's a copy. D still has it. So I'll do that. This lazy way to duplicate a list, but so when I add it to unverified, I want the key to be the coordinate and the value to be the rules for the tile that was on there. think this should be called like XY. And that break would end this loop and start checking the next tile. Oh, and I should probably put special rule verify is also going to need. It needs the rule, it needs the grid, it needs the position, and it needs the unverified tiles. The latest one, not the copy, because if we throw something off of that, we want it to be ready to use. So let's special rule verify. I did not really mean to be doing this at all for this functionality, but I nerd sniped myself. I think I can do it. Let's try to cram it through. And those rules are rule, grid, XY, position, and unverified. So the rules are going to be, is it like this? Or did I do anything with them? Yeah, so now we got, I don't think that's even tested. That doesn't look right. Rules.append. It's going to be a tuple. Okay. You got a square. You got an int. You close a tuple. You close a function call. That's far too many parentheses. So we got our rules here. It's going to be cardinal direction, and allowed tile equals rule. Just unpack that tuple. And the grid, the XY, that's going to be our target. So the target X and target Y, this is going to be the spot on the grid we're going to check. Is going to be equal to, okay, I actually need to say like cardinal directions. North is usually I put these like this, they can stay lined up. East is this way, negative X. Oh, let me say delta xy tx ty equals xy0 plus dxy 0 xy1 dxy1. We got xy, a tuple with two integers. We got dxy, one of these. We're going to sum up the x, sum up the y. Wish I had like a point class that does all that automatically, but yeah, I do this all the time. It's slightly ugly. Okay, so we got our target position, and now let's say oh, I also need to turn it uppercase, don't I? So let's say if txty, if txty in unverified tiles and cardinal in so if it is a lowercase 1, that means we need to wait for it to propagate, which means this rule, which is a single direction and a single specific tile ID, can only weird, I hear like a tapping sound. Hope that's not the mechanical going wrong. If that single direction, single target tile is found, if it's a lowercase 1, it doesn't matter if we find it or not, because if that's an unverified tile, then it won't ever satisfy the rule. But yeah, if the target's unverified and the rule requires it to be verified, yeah, we can just return false automatically. So what I want to do instead is just check the tile, grid.at tile sprite equals allowed tile. So if it's not in that list, then a lowercase 1 would work fine. And I think this will work. Okay. Return that matches. Okay, so special rule verify. If special rule verify, take it out of the list and break. And what I'll do is I'll check the bounds here, set myself up for an infinite loop. Took out the F. And here I mean, it should, worst case scenario is like the map 30 across. So if it only was able to verify 1 tile per round, it should be 30 rounds, but it should probably tend towards half of that if it can get it from both ends. And if there's like a T shape that is allowed in the middle, we might be able to get it down to like a third or a quarter of that. And it's not iterating over the entire map, it's only iterating over the tiles that have rules. So if my tile set only has 4 of these special guys, then there's not going to be a whole ton of them. And what I guess I should say is, like, what if these are impossible to verify? Oh, so let me put this, like, what this should say is like if removals is still 0. Because if we checked every rule, oh, I hear the kid. Maybe that's what. No. Okay, I hear the kid on the monitor. I think I'm gonna go investigate the situation outside of my room now. But okay. See you in a bit or the morning or something.